Hi, thanks for stopping by Angel Gilding. I'm Alex, and today's quick tip video is all about measuring. Now, regardless of the type of mirroring project you're doing, you'll be measuring your chemicals in different ways throughout the process, and it's a good idea to become familiar with that measuring before you get started. So first, let's talk about our graduated cylinders. Now, a graduated cylinder is a very useful tool to have, and it comes in a wide variety of sizes. The size you use depends on the amount of chemical you plan to measure on a regular basis. For example, the 10 milliliter cylinder is really good for measuring small amounts of tin for silver, but if you're measuring something like distilled water, you're typically doing that in much larger increments, so you'd want to use the 500 ml cylinder or the 1 liter cylinder. I highly recommend, regardless of the type of measuring container you're using, you designate one container for each chemical. So what you would do is just write on the side in a permanent marker the chemical that cylinder is assigned to. And that's just going to avoid any cross-contamination that could happen down the line. So today, let's practice with measuring out some distilled water. Now, it can feel a little daunting when you're trying to get an accurate measurement and you're pouring from a gallon container such as this. So I have a tip that's pretty handy to make sure that you've got that accurate measurement, but it's a bit easier to do. So today, let's measure out 250 milliliters of our water. And first, we're going to start by measuring a little less than that. So I'll pour here into my cylinder. And I'm pouring here up to about 225 milliliters. I don't need to worry about being precise at this point. Next, I'm going to use my pump spray bottle with my distilled water. Now, anytime you're measuring, you want to make sure that your eyes are level with the line that you're measuring at. You can do that one of two ways. You can either bend down, as I typically do, so that your eye is equal to that line, or you can raise it up on a higher level surface so that you're equal. You just want to make sure that you've got a clear view of that line to get that accurate measurement. So here with our distilled water, we'll just spray. This allows us to get much more control without having to worry so much about handling a big gallon jug. Now, a couple other multi-use measuring tools that we have are the 30 ml or 1 ounce cups. You'll find these in a mini silver kit as well as a waste treatment kit. Pretty multi-use, although I definitely would recommend that you still assign each cup to a specific chemical. And then we have our 16 ounce cup. This is most often used with measuring tin for silver, tin for gold. You would measure out the concentrate in your 10 ml cylinder, pour it into your 16 ounce cup, and then add your water to get the right dilution ratio. Next, I have our smallest measuring tool. This is a 1 milliliter syringe, and it's most often used for measuring the sensitizer on our 2-part spray. Just take the cap off, open your container, and you can put your syringe right in. Now, when I'm pulling up the syringe, I don't need to be worried about being precise here. I'm just trying to get an approximate amount. And for me, I'm going to be measuring a 0.5 milliliter, which would go with my 250 milliliters of my distilled water. So I pull an average, maybe I have 0.8 milliliters here. Push the syringe down, once again, keeping it eye level, to 0.5 milliliters, which is going to be 1/2 of the length of my syringe. As you can see, you're measuring a small amount in a very accurate way, so this is a good tool to have. Next up, I have my cup for clear Unicoat. Now, we have these in 2 different sizes, and the process would be the same for both. If you've measured automotive paints before, you may be familiar with this type of measuring mechanism, but if not, it can feel a little foreign. Clear Unicoat is an 8:1 ratio, so that's 8 parts of resin to 1 part of hardener. So I'm going to look along the cup to this last column, which shows me 8:1. Now, this cup is for 3 parts, and I only need to use 2, so I can just ignore that final column there. Then I need to decide how much total solution do I want. Say, for example, I want to measure out 3 ounces. Then I'm going to fill the first component, which is my resin, to the 3 line, and then I'm going to pour my hardener right over the top, once again making sure that I'm equal to that line, level to that line, so that I've got a total of 3 ounces of my solution. Now, last but not least is what I consider to be my favorite measuring tool. I know that's a little silly to say that you would have a favorite, but the mech bottle is very convenient, a good tool to have on hand. One of the benefits to a mech bottle is that it's actually a storage container as well as a measuring container. So I just got my distilled water in here, but you can hold up to 500 milliliters of your solution. And anytime that you're not measuring, you're just storing it, I recommend that you take the straw out to avoid the solution rising up into the measuring cup. So today I'll put that back in, close it off tightly, and show you how we measure. Now, a mech bottle works by pressure. I'm going to squeeze the mech bottle, and that's forcing the liquid up the straw to 2 points here where it squeezes out. And there's marks all along here to show me how many milliliters I'm measuring to. Now, I can either squeeze to that level and release, or you can move the cup up and down to line up those 2 holes with the measurement that you want. So for example, if I want to line that up to 15 milliliters, so the 2 holes are equal to the 15 milliliter line, no matter how much I squeeze, the bottle will always settle back down to that specific amount. So if you're measuring the same amount at a time, that's a good tool to have on hand. It reduces your eye strain and helps you to get some consistent results. Now remember, measuring is important and accuracy is important, but chances are 1 milliliter off here or there is not going to ruin your project. So just take a little bit of time, practice a little bit to become familiar, and I'm sure you will be a measuring pro. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment box below. Let us know if you have ideas on other quick tip videos you'd like to see. Be sure to be subscribed for notifications of future videos, and check out our website, angelgilding.com. Thanks.